You're listening to the Auricle Podcast with Ben Amoa.
Hello there.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Auricle. Happy December, and thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is the 4th episode. I'm so sorry about the pace of all these episodes. I know it's been shambles. I've just been struggling personally. I think you have all these ideas, and it's so nerve-wracking kind of just put this out to hear my own silly voice. But I've just had a lot of support from family and friends. So I'm just going to keep doing this, and I'm still going to pick up the pace. And thanks so much for bearing with me. This episode is a very special episode on value and self-value, looking at yourself and knowing what it's worth, and how to find that in God. Our guest is Pastor Elizabeth Pule, who is working in the Ontario SDA conference. And I'm just really blessed that I was able to catch her. She was doing Week of Prayer for me at my academy, Fraser Valley Adventist Academy. And she gave me some time just so we could chat and she could share her opinion. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please follow the pages, follow on Instagram and on Facebook, and share with me your comments or other topics that we could focus on. So hope you enjoy the show.
Okay, hi world. My name is Liz Pule. I am a mom, a wife, and a pastor. I live in Oshawa, Ontario, and currently I am a co-director for Family, Women's, Men's, and Singles Ministry, and I work with my husband, who's also a pastor.
Kind of want to know, where as a pastor do you find yourself ministering in, or who do you find yourself ministering to the most?
Okay, so I think outside of my job, in my job, I'm required to minister to people in Ontario, families, women, and singles. However, I think I minister the most one-on-one with people. And it happens to be with a lot of young women and kids. And I'll just throw in there as well, autistic families.
Wow.
Yeah, those things are very important to me.
And I saw you even in Ottawa work a lot with young women and young girls. And why do you find yourself ministering to those people or working with those people the most?
I think, I am a female, so I guess I just gravitate towards that. But I would like to see young women and young girls not end up like me, being in their 40s and having issues with their self-confidence and with their self-worth. So I always try to tell young women and young girls to learn how to find their value in Jesus now while they're young. That way it sets them up to be successful as they grow up and not have all this kind of uncertainty and anxiety around their worth when they're adults. Because it's not a good thing. It's not a nice thing.
So how do you tell them that? How did they learn that? Or, what's that process like?
Other than me telling them just to do what I say?
Or how do you get to that point where you can even make that type of
I'm still learning. I think for me, what I have to do, I have to recite scripture out loud. I pray, I lock myself in the closet, and I actually have, everyone talks about their war room. Well, I made one. It's in my closet. Wow. And I've listed all of these Bible verses that speak to my fears and my anxiety about how I feel, my self-confidence and my self-worth, and I read it out loud.
Wow.
Yeah. That works for me. That might not work for everybody, but you can't know how much you're worth unless you know Jesus. So, sometimes we try to find our worth in other things or our career, our schoolwork, or other people. That's not going to last. It might work for a little bit, but it will not last. So until you know who Jesus is, you won't know how much you're worth.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so I guess asking you a little personally, I asked you this before too. Like, did you have someone who was doing that for you growing up?
No, I didn't. I didn't have, like, I had older cousins and things like that, but nobody that I could ask that question. Like, why do I feel this way? Or sometimes I look in the mirror, I don't like what I see, or I feel ugly. No, who was I going to tell that to? It's embarrassing. Yeah. So no, there was nobody that I had that conversation with.
So then when was it for you that like something like that clicked, or that you were like, I need to start looking for an answer, or how did that come across to you?
I think it became really, I don't know, real to me when I was journeying to becoming a pastor. I had to rely on God just to get me into seminary. And so it encompassed everything about me. My fears about going to school, going to seminary, being a female pastor, my self-worth, all of it was just tied into that process of going to become a pastor. And I spent so much time with God that it like filled me. All the empty spaces got filled with God. And like I said, it is I think it's a lifelong struggle, because there's going to be other things that want to fill those spaces, but you have to work at only filling them with God.
So then, I warned you about this, the conversation going this way a little bit. And not only are you a pastor, but you're a female pastor.
Yeah.
And I think today in 2018, especially what's happening in the church, for people who don't know, the Seventh-day Adventist Church does not ordain female pastors. And I think that is such a terrible punch at knowing someone's value. I think that would be terrible. Like, I don't know what that feels like. But as a female, I think like it's like, how do you find your worth? So how do you even before this, or how did you find your worth in a system where that doesn't even support? Right.
It's hard to be valued in a denomination that doesn't acknowledge your calling. It hurts when people are rude to me and disrespect me. It hurts. But God's the one that called me, so I don't need human acknowledgement. So I'm not going to fight people to be ordained or anything like that. That's not what God has asked me to do. God has asked me to love people, no strings attached, and I will do that. So if people want to, have a disagreement with me or get into an argument, I'm so not interested. That's not for me to do. Yes, it does hurt when people are rude, but yeah, I don't need human acknowledgement. No one is ever going to stop me from being a pastor.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you know, it's how is it not too much? Or is there ever a time where you know, I have to put now, myself in front of this calling that I have?
For me right now, with all the things that are going on, this is where I stand. I'm not trying to fight people, but what God has asked me to do, that won't ever go away. Yeah. I'm not belligerent or anything, but I don't apologize for being a female pastor at all. Yeah.
Do you think that it can ever change in the future? Or is that even one of your hopes? It's just that, or do you just hope that you can just be the best you can be in serving God? That's all it is.
I don't know what the future holds for our denomination. It looks a little bleak right now, to be honest with you. And I don't even know what to say about that. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know who holds the future, which is kind of it's like a lame saying that everybody says, but it's true. We don't know what is going to happen to our denomination, but God is so good. I don't even care.
Wow.
Sorry, that's horrible to say, but yeah, God is so good.
Wow.
But if you disrespect me in front of my kids, I might go nuts a little bit.
Why is that your boundary?
Because I know that my kids need to see the value of all people in ministry. Yes. I think it's just something about being a mom and having people disrespect me in front of my children. Yeah.
You never want their perspective to be skewed.
I know the perspective won't be skewed, but I do know they need to see what's right. Yes.
Wow.
That's important to me. Because they're the ones who are going to come after us. So they're the ones who are going to need to change the status quo.
Wow.
They need to learn.
Okay, so then I just want to go back to kind of young women, because I think I'm a chaplain and I work in schools, and I see young girls, and I see how that confidence thing is a big struggle. Not just in girls, in teenagers, but like I know for a fact in girls it's a very big thing just because of Instagram, Facebook, everything like that.
Terrible.
So where do you think, to you, like where does that come from, that want to be something else or to be influenced by our phones and everything?
It's social media, man. Yeah, it's terrible. And it starts off really small. You know, it could just be little things here and there. And like you become addicted to Instagram or Snapchat or Twitter. It can happen really quickly. And before you know it, you're comparing yourself to people, all those filters. You don't even know what you look like in real life anymore. It can take over your life and you won't even know. And I find that girls have a huge disadvantage because, you know, a guy can say, oh, send me a pic or whatever, a nude pic. And if the girl says no, you know, he blasts her all over social media and tears her down because she's a prude or whatever. And then if she does send it, then she's a whore because she sent it. So the girl's stuck. And that's the kind of world that we live in. You're messed up if you send it, and then you're messed up if you don't. So where does that leave young girls? If we don't teach our young girls to be strong in who they are and have the courage and the confidence to tell people, I don't care what you think, I'm going to do what I know is right and stand up to foolishness, they will get like swallowed by the stuff that happens on social media.
But like, is the source of the source of fighting that is only God?
I think so. And I think it has a lot to do with your family. If as parents we don't teach our children where their value comes from, of course they're going to look for it in other places and other people. That's human nature, for us to find worth. But if we need people to tell us, you're so pretty, you're so smart, you're so handsome, you know, human voices will lift you up and tear you down the very next day.
Wow.
So we can't look for value our value in humans. Because you know what it's like in elementary and junior high. Like everyone's like, yeah, I'm your best friend, whatever, let's hang out. And then the next day they're talking behind your back.
Yep, it's true.
So we have to, I believe, as parents, build and grow our kids to be strong from young, so that when they go into high school and go into college, they can remain firm. That doesn't happen without God in the family.
So, I mean, you have kids, and I work with kids every day, and I guess I'm seeking advice too. It's like, how do you tell a kid to find their value in God? Like, is there something practical you can say? Is it just Bible studies? Is it just devotional life? It's like I just want to, maybe I'm just asking for a cheat answer. But,
a cheat answer, okay.
But is there, like, you know, but is there like a formula? Because it's such a big problem.
I think it is. You're definitely right. If you're looking for something practical, if we had a cup filled with water and there was dirt in it, how do you get rid of the dirt? You pour more water into it until all the dirt comes out. Pour into your children or pour into your students everything that the Bible has to offer, so all the garbage that the world puts in us gets flushed out. The Bible tells us that if we seek to find the Lord, we'll find him. The Bible also tells us to keep our eyes fixed on God. Keep is not automatic. Keep is a decision. Keep is a verb, a daily thing that you have to do. We can't expect to be strong if we only spend 10 minutes on our phone reading a devotional every day. That's not going to keep you strong. You work out for an hour and a half every day to get muscles, it'll work. If you only do it once in a while, you're not changing at all. Just like if you study for 5 minutes, you're not going to learn anything. And we do this with everything else in our life. With the music that we listen to, with the movies that we watch, the people that we text. Where we put our time is where you see the most connection. If we don't put our time and our connection into our relationship with Jesus, how is that going to make us strong? How is that going to grow us? It's not going to happen.
No.
Yeah.
Wow, thanks, Pastor Liz. So I guess in wrapping up, and thank you for your time.
Sure.
In wrapping up, what would you say to anyone who's listening, just so that they can grow in their understanding of their own value and who they are?
Mm-hmm. I would say that God's love for you is the one that will never fail you. We might try and find value and acceptance in the people around us, but because we're humans, we're going to fail each other. If you want to find legit, true, all-encompassing love, then you have to get to know Jesus. He's awesome. You'll never be disappointed. It'll be the best decision that you ever make in your life.
Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of The Oracle. I'd like to give a big thank you to Pastor Elizabeth Pule for just giving me a few minutes of her time just so she could share on this podcast. The biggest thing I took away while talking to her is that if you want to know your own value, you have to know Jesus. So thanks again. I hope that key stays in everyone's mind. Stay tuned. More episodes coming out. I'd like to give a big shout out to Homage Beats for the intro. Pastor Lyle Notice for the intro beats too. And also one of my own students, Emmanuel Dong, for the outro instrumental that's playing as I speak. So stay tuned. Keep supporting. Keep your ear out for the next episode of The Oracle. Stay blessed.